So at this point, the good news is that we covered almost all important features and functionalities that are related to outputting data, namely interpolation and the vbind directive, also combined with the knowledge that you can output either data or the result of method calls, like we're doing it here. Now there's one more feature, one more directive you should be aware of. Let's say one of the two goals, let's say course goal B, is actually not just a simple string like this, but this is some HTML code. And this could be a scenario you have in an application, where you, for example, fetch the data that should be output from a database, and from there you're getting some structured HTML code. Now, if you use HTML elements in that string, and you output this with interpolation, so with the double curly braces, you'll see that the HTML elements are just output as text. So they are not interpreted as HTML. And that actually is a useful security feature because it protects you against cross-site scripting attacks. So this is good. But sometimes you want to output this as HTML and not as text that looks like HTML. And for that, you got another directive you can use. And that is the v-html directive. We saw vbind before. Vbind can be used to bind, so to set the values of attributes. With vhtml, you set the content between opening and closing tags of an element, but you now tell Vue that the content should be interpreted as HTML. So it should not be output as text as it is with double curly braces. And therefore you no longer use double curly braces here, but instead the value you pass to vhtml between the double quotes here would be course goal B, for example, or also, if you wanted to, the result of calling output goal. This also works. And if I now reload, you see from time to time, this is the h2 tag. The text is just green, which is why you don't see it because of my styling. But this now is interpreted as HTML. Course goal A is also interpreted as HTML, but in there I got no HTML tags. So this is a feature you can use. I'm going to comment it out here because we don't need it here, but I wanted to make you aware of it. If you get some content stored in your Vue app which contains HTML code that should be treated as HTML, the vhtml directive, which is built into Vue, will help you with that. Now, chances are you'll not need it too often, and you should definitely not use it as a default, because you can introduce security issues with that, because you basically circumvent the built-in cross-site scripting attack protection you have with the double curly braces. But if you know what you're doing and you need to output something as HTML, the vhtml directive is your friend. Well, and these are some basics about working with a Vue app and outputting content with data or with a method which you call. And therefore I'd say, next it's time to practice this a bit.